afternoon, Reni. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so how we got to you is that I've been following your social channels for a while, and it's called the Almond Girl. That's the one that I found. And like I told over the phone and just now, we're very interested in the almond industry because it's something, we work a lot in fruit, so it's fruit, but it's just not part of the stuff we normally get to deal with. So we are curious, and so that's why I invited you, and thanks for coming.
Yeah, look, it's we on the brink of really expanding the almond industry in South Africa. My grandfather originally planted the trees. We were the first commercial almond farm in South Africa. He farmed with peaches and apricots, and the farm was quite far from Montague, and he got a very bad price at the co-op in Ashton, and then he decided, you know what, done with that, and he took a chainsaw and he cut off all his trees, and then SAD approached him to see how almonds do in the area, and then obviously did very well. And
Sorry, where is the farm?
In Montague. So we're about 65 kilometers outside of Montague in the Little Karoo.
Towards Berrydale.
So we border Sambona Game Reserve.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Bel Air Dam, we also own. We share that with Sambona as well. So we've got water rights to Bel Air Dam.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming all the way to see us, because it's a long way. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm in the city lights at the moment.
There you go.
I left the farm with beautiful blossoms, and now I'm here in the hustle and bustle. My grandfather. So a bit of background about my grandfather. He was Italian. He arrived in South Africa with 2 bottles of grappa, and decided to build a future for him. He was a builder, so he was the master builder for Tulbagh, for Church Street after the earthquakes.
Okay.
So he worked, he worked there, and he also worked in Carnarvon and Sutherland. We met my grandmother.
Okay.
So I'm like a quarter Italian, I must say. So I'm not like a...
You have a passport?
I'm applying for my citizenship, but it's definitely... I have a Canadian passport.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So that's another story.
Yeah. I think he just bought this piece of land, and he fell in love with the area. And then my father, who is from the Neyvallei, and he always wanted to farm, but he's a doctor. And that's why I have my Canadian passport. He worked in Canada for, he still works. He's actually going to retire now this year after I don't know how many years. My brother and I were born in Canada, and we lived there for about 6-7 years. And then he got a contract in Kyrgyzstan to set up a gold mine, and
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, we were planning on coming back to South Africa and farming and all that stuff, and I think I finished the trek and he was still in Kyrgyzstan and still working, but he loves the medicine. But so my father had the vision, my grandfather had the dream. So without my father's input, I think the farm wouldn't have grown so quickly without, I would say, the capital input. So I lost my train of thought.
So you were saying that the trees were planted by your grandpa,
Yes.
and he was the first person to plant almond trees in that area.
In that area,
Okay.
yeah. I know there are a couple of other almond trees that were planted at that time through SAD, but he planted it, and then from there we used different rootstocks,
Okay.
which we've ultimately now have stopped using because we've adapted to what the ground needs. So an almond tree it's quite it likes a good drained how do you say, goed gedraineerde grond.
Well drained soil.
Almond trees need a well drained soil, and where we are, that's exactly what we have. But you can also plant almonds and sand and all that stuff. But so he planted that, and Yeah, my father's joined, and now my brother and I are third generation part of the business.
So what year did he cut off his stone fruit and planted almonds?
So he bought the farm in 1974.
Okay.
So it must have been around late 70s where he actually full on started with almonds. But that stage, it was so small. I mean, no
Yes.
one knew what an almond was in the 70s, 80s, like it's so niche, and it's still very small. I think only from the 90s we actually really started, going intense. And when obviously when my father joined, and when my brother and I joined after we finished university, it actually scaled a lot more. My dad went to California to see what they do, and he came back with a handbook, and we basically had to, we call it schoolgeld.
Copy and paste.
Yes, we kind of had to see how they use it. So we just had a handbook and to see how it works. So we've made a lot of mistakes, but I also think we've learned through it, and you have to adapt. You can't stick to one,
Yeah.
type of rule that you have to do. So yeah.
Wow.
Okay, very interesting. I think back to the 70s and early 80s. As a consumer, almond availability in South Africa was maybe on the baking shelf. You might find some diced or slivered almonds, but they were
this white.
yes, they were
Flaky.
definitely imported.
Yes,
and
yeah.
they were speciality things that, it was not on the top of the shopping list. Let's put it that way.
My first almond I ate when I was in mid-high school, I think. A friend of ours they had a big plot, and there was like a whole bunch of trees standing in the bottom, and there was the odd fruit tree in between, and there was almond trees there.
Yeah.
And I remember we still that was the first time I ate almonds.
So, like an almond's not just an almond. There's different varieties of almonds.
Yes, that was my next question.
Yes. So we specialize in about 14 different ones.
Okay.
Nonpareil is the most sought after nut, soft shell, and then the others are cross pollinators, which is a hard shell.
Okay, you're talking about the little brown skin on the actual.
So you've got the hull, which
Yeah.
is like the leathery part, and then
Yeah.
you've got the shell, and then the inside is your almond. So
Okay.
also with a hard shell and a soft shell, the skin color also differs. So
Okay.
nonpareil is a light skin color, where select chalaran, which consists about a select chalaran is the type of variety. So you get Almond, which we cultivate ourselves on the farm. Then you have Brodie, Padre, Peerless. So SSR can consist of a different type of different SSR, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So people don't know there are different varieties.
Yes.
So I always ask them, so where do you buy your almonds from? They're like, oh, okay, well then they would name the shop, and then I'm like, what variety? They're like, I don't know, it's just an almond. And I was like,
Yeah.
you can taste the difference between a nonpareil and an SSR. A nonpareil is sweet, it's sweet, it's like, and the SSR is very nutty, it's robust,
Okay.
it's like flavor, and the SSR is made for cooking and baking. So if you buy like almond flour or flaked almond, it would probably be an SSR, which is also cheaper than a nonpareil. Yeah.
Oh.
What you've just been sharing with us is consumer education information. And as we said, people didn't really, almonds were really not a thing that you could buy freely in large quantities in the supermarkets. So you would just go, an almond is an almond. So it's actually quite exciting and inspiring to hear that there's actually quite a range of almonds. If you look at something like Woolworths, again, we mentioned Woolworths. We're talking about them the whole day yesterday. But 30 years ago, potato was a potato.
Yeah.
And now you go there and you get all these interesting different potatoes. So I can see something like that happening with almonds, where you're actually training people about teaching people the different things. Because what you've just said is the first time I've ever heard that. So now I'm interested to see the difference, and I think other consumers would be as well.
Do you label on the packaging what it is?
Yes, so on my bulk bag, so for my snack packs, because the nonpareil is mostly used for snacking, so I won't put an SSR in in a snack range. So even my coated almonds and my roasted almonds, I just use nonpareil just because obviously I've got an abundance of stock by me, but also because it tastes nicer, and it's just, I want people to know that an almond shouldn't be chewy. If you buy an almond at, let's say, Woolworths or Discount, and they're like, oh no, but the almond was chewy. It's like, because it was not you did not use the right almond for the right use.
Exactly.
I also think it might be so new. Well, it's not new to people, but the concept of having different almonds for eating and baking and all that is new. It's like we've spoke about blueberries. It's 15, 20 years ago.
You get wine grapes and you get table grapes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're both grapes, but we know the difference now.
Yeah, 15, 20 years ago, like I said, I knew a blueberry in a muffin. That was it.
Yeah. No, so exactly. I also have the confectionery range where I also have a chopped and broken one. So, and that's where I try and focus that people must use that for baking and not buy the premium range for that.
Okay. So on the business side, how does it work for the almond industry? Do you have like big co-ops buying in almonds? Do you export yourself or package yourself? I know that you, like you said, you do the snack packs, which we'll show soon. But how does that work? I know, like with the fruit industry, the guys, they've got growers, exporters, importers. What's the how does it work?
Yeah, so up until, let's say, 5 years ago, my brother really pushed the expansion of almond production in South Africa. So we have a co-op in Robertson called the Robertson Almond Company, where AMANTECO, which is my family farm, is the majority shareholder. Then we also have other shareholders, and then we also have within our group we have farmers that plant almonds, and they bring we shell, hull, pack, export everything, and they get their certain percentage of whatever the market price is. So we basically process and pack and do the marketing for almonds too. Yeah.
And how big is that industry?
So South Africa is actually a net importer of almonds. We hope by the next 2-3 years, it depends on harvest, but that we won't have to import almonds. But we have started focusing on exporting because South African almonds get a very good price overseas. And it's just the business plan that we're running at this stage. It's like there's a need for a bit of South African sunshine that people want. So, but we still supply locally. The family farm, which is AMANTECO, we have a big local market, but we also export. But the Robertson Almond Company focuses mainly on exporting.
Sure.
I've got so many questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with the almond tree. How long does it take to bear? Where do you get them in South Africa? When you're setting up a company, I mean, tell us about the nuts and bolts of that.
So this is more the farming aspect of it all.
Touch the top points.
Yeah.
You don't have to get into too much detail.
As I said, we live, breathe, and eat almonds. So I have a little bit.
That's all we want, just like the basics.
We used to buy almonds from nurseries in the area, but typically how my brother operates, he wants the best and he wants to do it himself. So we have our own nursery on the farm, which we cultivate almonds for ourselves, and also within our group we'll also sell almond trees. So we have different rootstocks, which I will not. I don't even know where to start sometimes. But different rootstocks for different soils, and I mean the nursery's still a very small part of it. But the thing is, we've got control from the get-go up to where we actually plant it. It takes about 5 to 7 years for an almond tree to to yield.
To start bearing.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To be in full
Well,
production or
full production
Okay, sure.
from
Oh,
year
okay.
3, 4. I mean, it depends. I mean, it depends on how your spray program is and what you know. So and how you look after the tree in the beginning. Yeah, like my brother Stefan, he's got his finger on everything. So he's definitely we use Phytic.
Phytic.
Yeah, so we use Phytic to also help us with water control.
Incredible product.
Yeah, and
Yo,
Dieter lives in
Dieter-
he lives in Montague.
Yeah, I see him a lot on the farm, but I mean, whenever he's there, I'm here. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I know well.
And then also on the varieties that you mentioned, are any of them controlled varieties like grower club royalty varieties, or they're open?
So there is one variety called Independence, which you have to pay royalties on. It's a very high yielding product, but that's also it's a type of SSR.
Okay.
And then we have Almond, which it's basically AMANTECO Montague mix. That basically it was
Okay.
Oh wow.
yeah. At my brother
Very cool.
yeah, it mutated on the farm, and like that's
Oh,
something
wow.
special for us. Yeah, so. But we try not plant varieties that you must pay royalties on.
Yeah, it certainly is more complicated.
Yes, yeah.
Arguably, it might be better, but
Yeah.
definitely it's more complicated.
Yeah, but we focus on nonpareil. I mean, a nonpareil is worldwide. It's yeah. So and that's also the variety which obviously gets you the best price.
Okay, and so when you harvest, what time of year is the harvest?
Harvest starts around. It depends on weather. I mean,
approximately.
It's February. We can start harvesting. If it's a dry year, we can, like this year was a very dry year, very good year. So from February till April. So it also depends on your type of variety, so your earlier variety. So which is quite nice. So you can space out your harvest too, to see how when the first variety starts, by the time you finish harvesting that variety, you can start with the next one.
Okay, and as to once you have harvested and you've processed and you're sitting with the nuts, how long can you keep them before they're getting a bit old? Or
almonds are a very kind product to work
Okay.
with. So we obviously we shake, sweep, and harvest. So we've mechanized a lot since the beginning.
Yes.
I mean, my grandfather started with a desheller. It's not even it's the size of a car type of thing.
Okay.
I was at a farm in Limpopo, in Mpumalanga macadamia farm, and their Diaska was a tractor that they put into low range, and they just fed the nuts underneath the wheels, and it just cracked the husks.
Yeah.
That was their Diaska.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Whatever works.
yeah, look, I mean, a boer maak 'n plan.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and my grandfather was very practical. So, but yeah, so from there, we've mechanized with shaking the tree, sweeping it in a row, and then getting elevators to pick it up. And then from there, you call it stockpiling. So almonds you can store in shell.
Okay.
Under under a shed, whatever, and then when you're ready, you can start cracking.
What a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's not like fruit which has got to go today.
Yeah. No, we still
Yes.
harvesting. We still cracking almonds that we harvested in the beginning of the year. So it's quite
Okay.
nice. You can also and you can also see what your demand is in the market. So if you see you've got a lot of nonpareils that you have to sell, you start shelling that first. But we also have a cold room on the farm. So almonds it's typically it's like flour too. I mean, it doesn't really like ambient temperatures. So for us, we'd rather shell and put it in the cold room and then send it off from there than having a lot of stock already packaged and boxed, being in the staying in the shed. So 2 years is your best before from packed till if stored.
From packed or from shelled?
Shell pack. I mean,
Okay.
it processes so quickly, but I mean, it's 2 years. If it gets stored between 0 and 10 degrees.
Sure. Wow.
But I mean, almond shouldn't last that long. It's too nice.
No, technically not.
Yes.
But technically, if there's a dip in the market and all that kind of stuff, you could hold back for 2 years.
that's what you can do if you look at prices and especially for export. You can look at what the market does. If prices are high, then you can decide to sell, and that's what we sometimes do. But most of the farmers want to get paid out quickly. So
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
so, and my brother does very well in, being the broker between the farmer and
Okay.
yeah.
So where are your major markets?
Locally or
No, everywhere, locally and internationally. Who's buying your almonds?
so we export to the EU, and then we also have a couple of countries on the eastern side of the world. Yeah, but
Are we talking like Far East, or we talk Middle East, or?
Middle East. Yeah.
Okay, because
Yeah.
nuts are a very niche sought after product in certain countries.
Yes. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah, and like even in EU, they have started discovering the quality we have. I mean, we use hand sorting, but we also have extra machinery, optic sorters to improve our quality. So and yeah, it's taken a while for us to get into that market because we've actually just focused on the local market.
Okay, so really, is your main focus to now be in local market?
Well, yeah, past 2-3 years, yeah. Because we didn't have the quantities, so now we actually have the quantities. You can't go to a market and say, "Hey, here's my almonds." Then they say, "Okay, well, I want X amount."
You arrive with
like,
3 little bags full.
Yes, yeah.
Sure.
So, and tell us, how's it been going? I mean, honestly, I had no idea about almond varieties and different kinds of things, and we kind of work in the industry, so
we kind of knew that there must have been different ones, but now to find
never
out
thought about
how
it and never
works.
been exposed to it.
Yeah.
So, how's it going, and how are your things being accepted? And tell us about the Almond Girl.
So Almond Girl's a trickle in this big pool of almonds. This came about in COVID because the farm is mostly for wholesale. So we supply to butternut, which makes the nut butters. So that's our quantities that we focus on. And in COVID, I could see everyone was baking and everyone was doing all that stuff. And my brother was like, "Here's a gap in the market. Make it accessible to the public," because I always used to. Go on like a WhatsApp group and say who wants almonds, and you have to go through that list, and the online shop just made the PT just less, and I think you look more credible when you online shop. It's not just a newsletter sometimes that goes out. So the Almond Girl is turning 5 this year. It's still a little
Congratulations! It's exciting.
It's still a little bit of a side hustle. But a side hustle that's not really a side hustle anymore. I still work for the family farm. I do the food safety and I do the accounts and the sales and logistics. This is like a fun project for me, but it's also nice that that people can buy directly from the farm and where the source is. My main focus of the Almond Girl is that it's single origin. So say, for example, you buy from Woolworths or Dis-Chem, different suppliers will buy from different...
And it's all thrown in the same bag.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the almond that you get from my packet will be just from the farm. And that's what I try to, tell people about and make them aware that you need to know where your almonds are coming from at the end of the day. And it's... I'm trying to also add value to the product. So you can see there's white chocolate and there's dark chocolate in the salted range. And just having that base and growing on that. I think people like an exciting flavor to an almond. I think it's a raw almond is nice. I mean, but a chocolate covered almond is nicer. So
raw almonds, I can have just about a handful, but macadamias I can sit and eat like sweets. So it's a different thing, completely different.
So adding something to it it does make it nice.
Yeah.
But look, almonds are so healthy, and there's so many different things you can do with almonds. I mean, eating them raw like that is lovely, But I would imagine that you find a lot of people that get really excited when they discover your range.
I did a expo in Cape Town about 2 months ago, and I did a taste test between the two different varieties of our almonds, and people weren't sure because they could see the visual difference. One was darker, one was lighter, and they weren't sure what, and then they said, I never knew almond could taste this good. So I think if you know about almonds, you know a good almond can taste. But if you're not informed on how an almond can be,
100%.
yeah,
It's also difficult for people buying in the shops. You go into a shop and you buy a 500 gram, kilogram. They're all mixed, like we just said.
a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't really know that there's 3 or 4 varieties in
Yeah.
one bag.
Yeah.
And you can't really gauge
You
on that.
don't necessarily mix, like for nonpareil will always just be that, but for an SSR you won't mix different type of SSRs in a batch.
Oh, okay.
So you have you'll have Almond with just Almond, which is still an SSR.
So if you buy a bag, it will be one variety normally.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not necessary. You won't we'll never mix different varieties as one SSR.
Okay, but you might have a variety from the same variety. One from 200 nuts from California, 200 nuts from Israel,
Oh,
100
yes.
nuts from South Africa.
Not necessarily my brand, but yeah, if you buy from Woolies, I mean they might have different batches and they'll put that into one of their own batches. Yeah.
So you can't really get that unique flavor from buying in bulk from the shops as we would do.
Yeah. No, not necessarily. No.
Something that's come up quite a lot in the people we speak to and the information that we find is that the growing yearning for you people, they still want protein, but they want plant protein. They don't want animal protein. People that would like to choose. And we've often been told that is behind the very big interest in nuts and behind the growth in the South African nut industry, broader than just almonds, like the whole nut category. And almonds, as I said, they are healthy. So, who are your clients? Who are you people that are buying from you online? Give us some sort of ideas.
In the beginning, I could recognize names and I could but now I've grown so much now. I don't know. Like I see your order, I was like, I've never seen this name before, but I could see the type of. In the beginning, I could see this person is buying it for almond milk.
Okay.
Because they would buy an SSR 5 kilograms, and the next time they'll buy the nonpareil 5 kilogram, and then the next order would just be nonpareil, because nonpareil's sweeter, so that obviously works better
for the almond milk.
Yeah, which is more expensive, but obviously if they can afford it, it's
That's an
their choice.
interesting question. How do you milk an almond?
I don't know. We'll have to go to see Antoine and Paul.
I have to say something here, and you're just going to have to forgive me. They said, why it was on social media. It was this very crusty old lady. She said, you know why they call it almond milk? Because if they called it nut juice, no one would buy it.
I saw that.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that one.
It's fun.
There was actually a video on
It's become
TikTok.
very, very popular.
Look, it's definitely it is a niche product. I am in the higher price brackets of most consumers, but I think with the value add, I can see people are getting onto a little bit more. I mean, I use cacao prices and almond prices. I mean, if you put those together, it's a little bit of a disaster at this stage.
Yeah.
But I think if you use a high quality product, same with olive oil,
With anything.
anything, it just tastes better.
Of course.
But I can, so online I have a variety from 50 grams, 100 grams, up until 1 kg bags, and then the 5 kgs. So the bulk does well, because that's obviously where you save on. And I think people also like to, they buy and then they put it in their fridge and they can store it. So,
Yes.
and it's easy accessible, then they don't have to order again.
Yeah, we
Yes.
pack it for the kids for school. They love it.
Where do you
Yes.
buy your almonds from?
That was food lovers market actually. If I'm
Oh, you're killing me.
Well, now I knows about you. You see, you might have a new
If
client.
you order online, I mean, you can get some olive oil as well from the farm. So,
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll keep it in mind for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
yeah.
So tell us about the journey. I mean, okay, you grew up with the almonds, and you are involved with the family business doing the almonds, but it must be very special to be working with something which is, it's not grapes, it's not apples, it's not citrus, not stuff that we all come across all the time. It's something quite niche and quite unique.
Yeah, I think even in the let's say in Montague, it's grapes and it's stone fruit. So almonds, it's like you don't really have a soundboard sometimes to talk to someone. So basically, it's the family that we talk to, and I'll be like now luckily we've got other friends who have planted, but you don't. It's not the same. It's hard to explain. I think we've always just done everything on our own and researched everything on our own. So it's definitely my father and my brother, they are the pioneers of the industry. And I'm just so happy that my brother really went for it and he decided he wants to grow this into something bigger. And we are very fortunate that people also believe in us and in the industry, because without them, we wouldn't have been able to start this big setup in Robertson. Because our farm setup, it's still a small setup, but it's compact, and that basically the farm setup basically was the stepping stone to Robertson, because
Okay.
we've basically we've gone through all the faults on the farm, and then we basically just copy and pasted and adjusted the Robertson setup.
The pioneers always have to go through the learning curve and all the rest. So, I mean, you've done the homework on behalf of the rest of the industry, and the industry is very rapidly growing from
Yeah.
what we can see.
Yeah, it's very exciting to see.
Yes, indeed.
It's yeah, I don't think we ever thought it would be like it would happen so quickly, and how people would just be hands on. But as I said, I think my brother is definitely, because he's also so passionate. People can see, it works. If you come to the farm, if you see the trees, you'll be like, wow, okay, I did not know a tree can look this good at year 4 or 5. So it's all about the right fertilizers and feeding the tree well. My brother's he's big on like, look after your tree and the tree will look after you.
Yeah, sure.
So,
But
Indeed.
what brought you back into the business? Because we often you get sons that will take over a family business, and often the daughters don't get involved with the business further on. What brought you back into the business?
I never thought I would be part of the business. I think, so I studied sports science.
Okay.
I finished that and I did a postgrad in industrial psychology. Then I did my PGCE, which is a teaching degree.
Yes.
Okay.
Postgraduate Diploma of Education.
Yes. So at that stage, the farm wasn't like, it was still a smallish operation. My mom and dad was still involved, and my grandfather was still there. And my brother, he actually studied accounting. So he thought he was going to,
Sure.
the Wall Street vibes, and he also, I don't think he also thought he would be involved. But I think it's funny how life also pushes you in some
Yes.
directions, because I went overseas. I worked on the super yachts for 3 seasons, and I think my mom, she wanted to scale back a bit, and she said, listen, well, you want to come back, listen, well, if you don't come back, we probably have to appoint someone else and in your place. And I was like, no, I'll come back, because I wanted to come back. I love South Africa. I love working on the yachts, but it was just like I wanted to also build something. My grandfather, I think that everything comes back to my grandfather, how he also started it, how I wanted to build on top of his legacy. So I never thought I would really get involved, but it's been fun. I don't think you always do what you want to do. But yeah, I think I've got creative outlets. I think I found my niche when I started the Almond Girl. And working with my brothers also, it's fun, but it's got its challenges.
obviously.
Like with anything.
You can't chase them away like another employee.
No. My father actually has stepped quite back from the business because he works overseas. So my brother and I, like, he does the operations, and then we kind of work in line. And my mom's still there in the background. She'll probably work till she's 80 because that's what my grandfather did. So, but it's a nice compact. We all know what we need to do at the end of the day. I think you don't have to ask questions, and I think when you work for someone else, there's always like you kind of need to trust each other, whatever that person's doing, and just go with it.
Sure. And how's it looking forward?
Yes, I was about to say, and how's the future looking? What are your plans? And
is Almond Girl growing? Is it becoming a brand that people are recognizing?
I hope so. I think so. I always joke I want to be the Ina Parman or the Mrs. Balls of almonds in South Africa.
there you go.
Okay.
I think it's just getting out there. It's a very competitive market price-wise, and there are a lot of other brands that I need to compete with. My main focus has been online. I am trying to see if I can get into big retail and chain stores, but online it's quite nice because online you can buy directly from me too.
Yeah.
It's
And cuts out a lot of that bureaucracy
Yes.
and payment terms and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's if you can grow it by yourself, do that.
Yeah, no, that is the main focus. But in terms of a farm and all that, and the Robertson side, we definitely exports. It's definitely a focus for us. But we have one or two core clients in South Africa that we still look after. Internationally, I think almond prices will fluctuate as everything does, but we've definitely got a niche that people want overseas.
For sure. And, you know, I was just thinking about all the value adds that one can get from almonds. I mean, there's marzipan, there's almond milk, there's almond flour, there's all the baking stuff. There must be quite a market out there that you could develop, not necessarily you, but the South African almond industry, including you, could develop for particularly the very health conscious people that want to use more almonds and stay away from things which are maybe a little bit less healthy.
Yeah, look, the consumer market in South Africa for almonds it's quite small still. So when you look at that, then you need to think, okay, well, am I going to decide this is the capital outlay I'm going to do for this, and then with that, then you'll have to export for your volumes to make sense for that. That is the dream.
But you said you want to be the inner Palmer. So, you know, I'm just, going down that road.
Yeah, okay, well, you got me there. So, yeah.
Pulling your leg. No, but I'm actually quite excited by what you're saying. And the fact is that there is huge opportunity. Yeah. You know, people that want to buy almond flour to bake, they actually don't care about the price. They really want that almond flour because they don't want to be baking with flour.
Yeah.
So the price has an effect, but not that much because they're after it for its health value. Yeah. So that's kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah, no, and like butters and even the milks. I completely agree. It's we'll have to explore that when the time is right. But
Well, and the best of luck because you've got such a special product.
Thank you. You guys must taste it. Taste the difference.
We certainly will. Thank you.
I don't think it's not in the shot that we can show it.
Yeah.
Put it on there.
So yeah, I mean, Smokehouse is still a trial at this stage, but the dark chocolate, that's dangerous.
Okay.
It's small batches.
So the business side, I know you're not really representing the business side, but I'm sure you can speak about it a little bit. there's been a huge growth in the almond plantings.
With
Now you'll have to eat them off the table.
that one didn't seal properly. Sorry.
That's fine.
So there's been a real growth, eh? There's a lot of people planting in the last 10 years or so.
The last 5 years, yes. We have core producers that are really investing in almonds and really making sure that they have enough volume. So when people usually ask when they have to plant almonds,
Test 1, 2. Thank you.
we tell them 40 hectares is like the minimum to make it viable. Because there's a lot of mechanization, and the way we harvest, you need at least 40 hectares to make it worth your while.
So of course the scale of quantities.
Yes. So a smaller farm we don't really recommend, because at the end of the day, again, we've gone through our heartache that you need to go big with almonds.
And it's also not like you can I've got my little veggie garden at the back. It's pointless to plant an almond tree, because how many nuts can you probably will harvest 2 or 3 bags of these in a year.
And almonds need to cross-pollinate, so you can't just plant one tree.
Okay.
So when you plant almonds, you'll plant a row of one variety, and then maybe 2 rows of the other variety, because it needs to.
Yes.
Yeah, because of the bees. The bees also need to work their magic between all of the trees.
So for the people interested in planting it, even in their gardens, there's even a challenge to that also.
Yeah.
So
rather buy from me. It's
exactly.
easier.
I was
There
going
you
to say,
go.
Unless you want the blossoms every year, but that's only 2 weeks of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so just also, so if you've got cross-pollinator, so you've got the variety you want plus the cross-pollinator. Does the cross-pollinator also bear?
Yeah.
And then is that the same variety, or do you separate them to something else?
So when you harvest it separately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the cross-pollinator is a different variety.
And do you do white label of this? So that, for instance, I want to start my own brand, I can come to you and says,
No, unfortunately not. No, I really want my brand to get out there. We have the equipment to if we wanted to start white label packing, but there your contracts, it depends, contract workers, you can lose it so quickly, and then you have this whole setup, and then they then they
That
drop
makes
you.
sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And again, I want my brand out there.
exactly, and you can control the qualities going into it.
Yeah.
Fascinating. We must go see the farm.
We would love to come and see the farm. It'll happen still, I'm sure.
Well, come next week when the blossoms are still there, or otherwise
Next year.
harvest.
It's just rushes
Or
past
harvest
every
time.
year.
Always next year.
We'd love to come in harvest time. Random question. When you are cracking the nuts and you're removing the edible part from the inside, there must be quite a lot of waste.
Yeah.
Is there anything one can do with that? What do you guys do with
Good
that?
question.
Yeah, so you can use so obviously the way we harvest, the almonds get swept from the ground. So there's a lot of sticks and stones, obviously, which we remove. And then the hull is actually very high in protein, so we use that for animal feed.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So,
Remind me now, are we talking about the part outside the shell?
yes,
Yeah,
the leathery
that's the
part.
hull.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
high in protein as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But do you have to put it through like a mill to break it down?
So we have a contract with someone who that's a separate side of the business, and they control that. Control that. So they will probably mix it with I don't know, Lucentlands or make pellets out of it. So I mean, waste doesn't go to waste.
But that's incredible. That has a use, and it's feeding animals, because that's always needs to be done. And the shells?
Shells. I mean,
you must have a lot of them. What do you do with them? Do you use them for any purpose?
so what we do is we put it back into the orchard,
Okay.
and we use it as mulch.
Okay. One needs mulch. Mulch is important.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In Zimbabwe, and that one macadamia farmer they run the boilers that heat the drying parts for about 3-4 months of the year, it's only of husks and shells that they feed those boilers and not using
Oh, okay. So they use it as an energy
as
source
a
to
heat
heat
source,
source. Interesting.
Yeah. So then they don't use, because those old farms still use coal boilers for the heat. Then it just supplements it, and
Okay.
they've got the stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So a random question.
Yes, we kind of get to the end of our podcast, and then we have it's a nice where we end things. It's a tradition. Somebody before you has left a random question
Okay.
for you. They don't know who's coming next, so it's just a wild card question. So are you ready?
I have to be ready.
You don't have a choice.
Okay, and it will fit in nicely with you guys. How can agriculture create jobs in and near small towns in the rural areas?
Okay.
Not just to have people working on the farms, but what
Yeah.
if we support agriculture in the rural areas? It's got all these little spin-offs.
Not almond related, obviously. I
No,
can
no,
do
this
everything.
this is broader.
Okay, so let me know if I've got this right. So
No, there's no wrong answer. It's only your answer.
repeat the question for me again, please.
Let's read it again. How can agriculture create jobs in and near small towns in rural areas?
Okay. I mean, this is very, very simple, but I mean, the informal market of sales of produce. I don't know where I read it, but I think it was somewhere from Capitec, but they said the informal market makes up a lot more than the unemployment rate is not as high. And I'll probably get a little bit of flack of that because I think that was also in the
No,
podcast.
you're right. I remember specifically it was about a month or 2-3
Yes.
ago
Yes.
that
Yes.
that Capitec came out and said the
Yes.
unemployment rate is really not what you
Yes.
think because they see the money moving in
Yes.
Capitec, that the informal sector that no one has ever quantified
Yes.
is actually moving a lot of money. So
That's
yes,
where I'm going at, because if you think about fruit sellers, and whenever I walk past in town and I see this informal stall, like I look at the fruit and I look at the veggies, they're very good quality. So I think with agriculture, I mean, buying from a farmer, directly from a farmer and putting it on the street, people actually get better value buying from there than going through a food chain where the produce has been in a warehouse maybe for 2-3 days, where now it's directly available to you. So, I mean, informal market, maybe, yeah.
it's a good answer. Thank you.
It's one of those things that because we're in Worcester, it's the part of town you've got to go shop at the informal market is, and you will need to have cash with you, which is and then you go to a more dangerous part, and you've got to have cash. If it was more accessible, I think definitely something like that would have.
Yeah, and think about it. These shops are around the corner from the house. They don't have to take a taxi to
Yes.
doing the Checkers or the
But,
shop.
shopping malls has just become so convenient. That's all it is.
If you have a car or
If you have a
transport.
car.
Yeah, that's very true.
Sure. Thank you so much.
It's been
Thank you.
incredible and
Thank you
so
for having
interesting
me.
and inspiring. And we will look out for the Almond Girl. Go and look on your website.
I see this stuff all the time on my social media, like on Facebook. You guys you're doing a good job there.
Thank you. It's a one-woman show, but I've got a lot of other people that feed in and help me. So and then I've got a very good support network from my family and my friends, and a good base that I'm working from. So yeah.
I know it's been awesome. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you so much.